Hello. Welcome back to episode 15.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode. We got an exciting email I shared with Quest earlier from someone reached out from Omni, said that there has been a recent request for more content from you guys. Seems that we're getting more listeners day by day. So definitely a positive thing, Chris. I'm happy that more people are interested in listening to our podcast. Definitely, that's a good thing, Chris.
Yes,
Hopefully.
absolutely. Let's go. Let's get more listeners. Let's grow this. This is outstanding. Can't thank all of our listeners and everybody who at least opens us up and gives us a few seconds of a follow or a listen or anything like that. Really appreciate it. Please, if you guys are our listeners, which we love, tell your friends, share this, let everybody know. Like, don't leave a conversation without mentioning, hey, have you guys heard of the Replacement Level podcast?
Yeah,
Like,
come on,
share
guys.
Share it.
we're the hottest podcast in the world right now. No, I'm kidding, guys. But really, like Chris said, if you like our podcast, please share it with your friends, family, let everyone know. Big news for you guys: we are connecting with Sportsnot. We're still setting things up in the process. We did connect with their personnel, and we're definitely on in the process and on the way to some big stuff for you guys. But definitely exciting stuff. Hoping to bring on some. Actually, I shouldn't say this. I should keep this a secret, Chris. Shouldn't really give me our secrets here. But
Yeah.
let's jump right into it, guys. To be honest, I've kind of been slacking off past couple of days. Been really busy. We wrapped up our yearbook actually for seniors. I've been working a lot on it. So it just finished last night. I just submitted. So that's done. So now I can jump back into baseball. But Chris, your Mariners kind of beating up on those A's, I see, taking advantage and getting some dubs.
Well, I mean, that's, if you're a playoff team or you have aspirations of being a playoff team, you got to beat up on the bad ones. And the Mariners are doing that. Yeah, I mean, good for them last night. It was a great showing. Definitely loved the rebound, especially after the kind of devastating series loss to the Atlanta Braves. Although I have to say, the Mariners fared well against the Atlanta Braves in that series. I mean, they lost 2 to 3 games, but I mean, they weren't out of any of those games. So, there's still some positivity to take away. Their record wise is, I think I saw like 10 games better than where they were this time last year. So, they're already off to a better start. It's a long season. There's still some things to be positive about, but we definitely would like this team to kind of get the offense rolling again and get some of their players hitting much better so we can win a few more series and not just the series against the really bad teams in the MLB.
Yeah, I mean, you're beating the best team, beating one of the worst team in baseball. So I guess we can give you. I'm kidding. I guess we give you. But listen, you're winning games. I'm not going to say anything different because the Yankees are beating up against pretty
and cheating.
low. Excuse me.
I mean,
Excuse
your
me.
boy Domingo, and
okay, fine.
Mr.
Listen, we're Yankees.
Side-eye.
We are cheaters. That's what we do. We cheat to win games. I'll take it. Listen, we won the game, so no matter how we win it. No, I'm kidding. But it does it kind of bothers me a little bit the fact that I mean, it's a little it's tough because umps when players are coming out and pitchers are coming out at the end of each inning, umps are checking like, hey, is there a substance on your hand? And I think for Herman, I think I've seen this in the majority of his starts, but he does tend Herman and I think Herman mainly. He does typically do have a lot of stickiness on his hand because he does use the rosin bag a lot, and he uses a lot of the rosin and spit. So he kind of like mixes that up, but he forgets to wash his hand. So I mean, I'm just vouching for Vermont. Listen, I don't know, maybe he is using something, but Chris, I'm just trying to be an empathetic Yankees fan. So
Okay.
no, but it is a little concerning for me because again, like I'm a Yankees fan. I want to win cleanly. Don't want anything to interject. But listen, Yankees are winning games. I'm happy. We're beating up on the bad teams. We swept Cincinnati going out there, and we're beating up bad teams. I'm not complaining. We're beating up on the A's. We killed them. But it's time. It's time. We're bringing back the replacement level players, actually. It's been 2 weeks. Actually, 2 weeks ago, we didn't have an episode. But, Chris, let's kick things right off. hit me with your replacement level hitter over the past 2 weeks.
We're going to go ahead and stay right in the AL East with a team that you probably know very, very well. And we're going to go down south to Tampa Bay with Mr. Wander Franco. Over the last 2 weeks, he's still, still making productivity out there, but it's definitely not what he had been earlier in the season. Last 2 weeks, he went 11 for 51, scored 5 runs, hit literally 3 extra base hits, 1 double, 1 triple, 1 home run. That's it. Drove into, did steal 6 stolen bases. So, like I said, he's causing some havoc on the base paths, which is nice, especially for a guy who's had some leg issues, soft tissue issues of his legs as well. So nice to see that. Drew 5 walks, struck out 4 times, but a 216 batting average and a 0.619 OPS simply is not the level of production for a former prospect that was touted as being one of the best guys, a 5-tool player that you can't miss with. Granted, everybody's going to go through slumps, and that's most likely what this is. But regardless, we're talking about replacement level players, and Wander has been replacement level for the last 2 weeks. And considering that the Rays love to mix and match their lineups based upon who they're facing, it wouldn't be surprising if maybe they looked at Wander a little bit closer, and maybe during the slump, and maybe he sees a little more time on the bench, especially to give the hot hitting Taylor Wells some more time. But yeah, I got to go with Wander. So Rafal, who is your replacement hitter?
I mean, listen, before I get to that level hitter, Franco is slumping, and that's definitely not something you want to see from him, being that he's one of the more dynamic hitters in the game, and he's a younger player who's on the rise. And last year he did suffer a few injuries, which kind of impeded him overall. It kind of took away from his could have been rookie of the year season. But overall, I just think this is he hit a tough stretch. Like you said, maybe give him a couple days off, but I just think it's more of getting him to hit out of the slump and keep putting him out there and just kind of hit his way out of it. But out of the past 2 weeks, he has hit a tough stretch. And listen, I don't want him to start hitting. I want the Yankees to take over the AL East, which is they're on the way to do that at least since the last 2 weeks performance. But for my underperforming and push level hitter, I got Manny Machado. Not good numbers for him. He's gone 3 for 25 over the past 7 games. 2 weeks, past 2 weeks, he's been somewhat productive. That was 8 games before that. But just focusing on the last week or so, over the past 15 games, just to give you some context, guys, 259, 333, and 517. He went 5 for 58 over that span. But the past 7 games especially, he's gone 3 for 25, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, and 120, slash line of 120, 179, 280. But I think it's something to note that actually metrics wise, his striking percentage and his discipline has been relatively similar to last year. There isn't that big of a disparity. From last year, he's got 20.6 strikeout rate. That's actually 0.1 lower than last year, 20.7 last year. And then his walk rate is a drop lower from last year, but I don't think that's kind of where his struggling is rooting from. I think it's more of just being productive overall. He's got an 81 WRC plus, so that already shows that he's underperforming and he's performing worse than the average player. And he's got a 286 WOBA. His ISO is way down, so obviously we see that the power is obviously not there. He does have 5 home runs, but he's obviously not where he typically is in terms of, getting back to ball, barreling the ball. And this year, his barrel percentage, just pulling it up, his barrel percentage this year is just 6.5 compared to last year's 9.8. So again, I think it's just more about making harder contact because his hard hit rate is 10% lower than last year. It's 39. Last year was 49. So I definitely think that it's just more about making more consistent contact for Machado, getting it back on track because the Padres are scuffling right now. Everyone knows that. They're right around 500, a little under 500. I don't know the exact numbers, but they got Machado, they got Xander, they got Soto, all guys who Tatis just came back. So that's kind of a nice boost. But overall, Bogarts has hit a slump, Machado slumping, and just their lineup needs to get going if they want to make a deep run. But let me get to my pitching replacement level player before Chris, you hit that. I'm gonna give it to Alek Manoah, a guy who has struggled a lot coming out of the gate. Along with Corbin Burns, who I was gonna give it to him. He did have a pretty bad outing against Houston, but he did have a few promising starts before that. So that kind of said like, hey, maybe I shouldn't put him in yet, just because did have a few bounce back starts. But Manoah, with the past 15 games, MLB. The thing is for MLB, when you look at last 7 games, it's their last 7 starts. I actually didn't know that. I thought it was like their last 7 games, like including the days that didn't start. So over the past 7 starts, I'll just put that out there because that's more or less like a month. 7 starts, a little less than a month. But over his past 7 starts, 5.25 ERA through 7 starts, 21 earned runs, 22 walks, just 29 strikeouts. So he's got that 29 to 22 strikeout to walk rate. The 1.75 whip, honestly not too bad. But Manoah's been completely out of character this year. But again, metrics-wise, there's really not much metrics-wise and, just pounding the strike zone. There's a little of a difference. Slight drop from last year, 6.6% difference from last year. His strikeout rate is just at 16.9%, which is obviously not, that's not typically where Manoah is, because he's typically a guy who gets a lot of whiffs, and he's not getting that this year. He's not being as effective as it was last year. His walk rate is definitely higher than last year, more than double, 13.9%. Hitters are hitting 276 off him this year. And just overall, just things are not going his way. And, he's getting hit hard. And him and Burns are really just struggling. It's not something you expected. Coming to the year, projections-wise at least, they are both projected to be top 10 pitchers in the game. And they've totally underperformed. They've totally overshot that. And they're just not living up to obviously we're focusing on Manoah here. But you want to see more out of an ace, because they got Gosman, they got Manoah, and Kikuchi's having a nice year. But you need Manoah to get going, because he's really the anchor of that rotation along with Gosman, and you need him to right a ship. So Manoah, get your stuff right. Chris, hit me.
I gotta say, I love how you picked on Manny Machado, who has a fracture in his hand too. Like just ignore that the dude broke his hand, but it's cool. It's cool. He had been struggling anyways up until that point, so I think it's totally validated. But my picture, we're gonna go from the East Coast to the West Coast. We're gonna go up actually to the Pacific Northwest. We're gonna go to arguably the longest tenured Mariners, and that's Marco Gonzalez. And the dude is the 5th starter, so it's kind of hard to expect greatness from 5th starters, just because they're typically guys who are going to be more innings eaters, not going to be big aces or potentially lights out stuff or anything like that. But Marco is definitely more on the soft tossing variety in today's MLB. He's more reliant on location, but he only went 7 2/3 innings over his last 2 starts. Got a win, got a quality start. So, that's good. One of those starts was actually good. He gave up 2 home runs, 3 walks, 3 Ks. That's kind of standard, Marco stuff with the low Ks and low walks. But that ERA and whip is just ugly, with an 11.74 ERA and a 2.09 whip. Now, when we dive into it a little bit deeper, we see that Marco actually had a really good start against Detroit. He went 6 innings, like I said, got that quality start, got that win. But it's Detroit. They're not a good team, so you kind of expected it. But he did face off against the Boston Red Sox, and let's be honest, the Red Sox have a really good offense. They've got a really bad pitching staff, so this was going to be an interesting matchup to see how he fared, and he did not fare well at all, only going 1 2/3 and getting absolutely obliterated by the Red Sox offense. So he's got a good start coming up. He's got a 2-start week this week, actually, where he's going to get a face against the Oakland A's. He goes tonight, in fact, and then he'll face off with the surprising Pittsburgh Pirates later this week. I believe it'll be Sundays when his next start is. So he's got a good chance to kind of right the ship here. Seattle definitely could use a little more productivity out of him. He's been struggling all season, but this last 2 starts were definitely really, really bad. And that's all we have for the replacement level players. So, Rafal, what are we going to talk about next here?
I don't know, Chris. I feel like over the past couple of days, I've seen a lot of tweets about run differential. So I actually wanted to discuss that a little bit.
Yeah.
I saw. This is what we're gonna do. So I saw. I forgot who tweeted. I think it was like I don't know. I have to look, but I'll check after. But there's someone on Twitter who tweeted about he was ranking the divisions based on run differential. So I wanted to talk about that,
Okay.
kind of just see where teams are in terms of how much they're scoring against their opponents. What, and I guess what we're gonna do is we're gonna rank divisions based on run differential. So I guess we'll do out of the six.
Mhm.
We can do 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So let's start with the division. We'll discuss it. We'll go into a little depth. We'll give like a brief overview of each division. So there was one division, just right off the bat. One division specific has really kind of disappointed, at least offensively, and I think we could hopefully both agree on this. But one division that's really struggled is AL Central.
Yeah.
Um, I think I think it's okay that we both agree on this. There's only one team that's in the plus for run differential. That's the Twins,
Yep.
and they've actually got a plus 40 run differential. Everyone else, being that the rest of the division is under 500. You got Detroit, who's 3 games under. They're negative 48. Cleveland's minus 31. Sea Sox are negative 57. That's obviously the White Sox are completely out of character this year. They're 11 games under 500. And, coming into the year, we were expecting. Just want to talk about the White Sox real quick, going off a little tangent, but we're expecting the White Sox to do big things, and their pitching staff has really held them back. We're seeing a lot of guys struggle. We're seeing C struggle. We're seeing Lance Lynn struggle. He's has one of the highest ERAs, 7, I think, among qualified pitchers. So that's obviously not where you want him in terms of, production wise. And the Royals, obviously, they're supposed pretty much where they're supposed to be. But, I think 6 we can give the AL Central. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's really no other discussion about this. They, like you mentioned, they've got one team in the division. They're actually one of 2 divisions that have that distinguish of only having one team with a plus run differential. So I would guess we're probably going to align on who the second to last team is, the number 5 team or not number 5 division is. But for right now, yeah, AL Central, bottom of the barrel, they are absolutely bad. I mean, even the Twins who are in first place, their offense has kind of been struggling a little bit lately too. So, yeah, AL Central, you guys are the bottom feeders in the run differential category. Like I said, I think we're ranking these, and we're going to line on this next one too. I think the next division that is only slightly better than the AL Central is going to be the NL East. I kind of alluded to it with being the AL Central being one of 2 divisions with only one team with a positive run differential. Well, that other division is the NL East, with the Atlanta Braves sitting at a plus 61. Everybody else is bad. New York Mets minus 14, Miami minus 56, Philly minus 31. Yeah, the runner up in the World Series last year is minus 31, sitting in third place in the NL East. And then Washington, similar to the AL Central, we all expected Washington to be bad, and they are bad with a minus 21 run differential. So, yeah, not good there. I mean, the Braves are just hot. The Mets are the only team I'd say that are really, really surprising considering how much money they spent this offseason. A lot of people were expecting them to be good, and they've really struggled. I mean, they are 2 games over 500, so that is good, but they sit 4.5 back of the Atlanta Braves. But, Rafal, what are your thoughts? And like I said, I'm guessing we're aligned on the NL East here.
We are aligned. But the one thing that kind of stands out to me, Chris, because we're the Phillies are negative 31 in run differential, but they're actually they're 11th in team OPS. They're 742 OPS.
Mhm.
So that kind of stands out to me, and I think it's more of the fact that their pitching staff, got Aaron Nola, Wheeler, again, they're both struggling, and you got obviously they added Matt Strom, who's been a nice contributor, but the offense hasn't been too horrible. I think it's more the pitching staff is kind of holding it back. And the Nats are obviously they're Nats up. But yeah, Chris, we are together on this. The Mets, like you said, obviously all the money that Steve Cohn allocated this year towards improvising their team and getting all that all the help he can get. Obviously, it's not been paying off. Verlander just came back. Scherzer's been inconsistent. Verlander obviously had that bad start when he came back, but he's been good since then. And the Braves are obviously doing Braves things. Their lineup is clicking. Acuna's on a historic streak right now. And the Mets, I've honestly my biggest surprise. The Marlins are somehow still playing 500 ball. They're definitely hanging in there. You still got Luis Ariz doing his thing. Garrett Cooper's doing his thing. Soler's hitting bombs. But I think we are aligned NL East. And now the third worst division. I'm hoping we're still going to be together on this, though I'm not so sure. But we're gonna have to give it to the NL West. You got the Dodgers, and then you got the Diamondbacks, who are playing great baseball. They are playing very good baseball. Dodgers have picked up the pace a lot, honestly, since that bad start where they're barely 500. This is actually a crazy stat. They're 17 and 7 at home, and then 13 and 12 away. So I think that's kind of where most of the losses have come from. The Diamondbacks, like I said, like they're hanging in there. The Giants, they're playing 500 ball. The Padres, like I said, are really struggling. And I said it's mostly spreading from their offensive struggles. Like I said, you got Bogarts, Tatis, and the rest of the lineup has kind of been middling most of the year. You need guys like Crony to step up, have a big offensive year. Obviously, it's not happening. And then the Rockies are obviously going to be probably the last place team. But other than that, Chris, NL West for 3.
Yeah, NL West for sure. I mean, it's there. You hit a lot of it already. I will say the fact that the Padres are in the fourth to last spot in the division with a -8 run differential, it does show that they're not maybe as terrible as the record shows. Like they're close. So you got to think with them being close that there could be a hot streak in store for them, and we could see this offense kind of just go ballistic, really, because they got a lot of star power in them. They really shouldn't have a negative run differential with the firepower that they have. And especially from the pitching side, they've got a good rotation in there. So, you're still holding out hope for the Padres fans of getting your team turned around in there. A bit surprising that the Giants sit in third place and that they are only currently one game under 500 with a -15 run differential. You don't typically see that a lot. When you start talking about plus or double digits in run differential, especially on the minus side, you tend to see teams that are really far under the 500 mark. But give credit to the Giants; they are hanging in there, and they kind of are a little bit of a scrappy team, so maybe they can stick around all season long in there. Moving on from the NL West and kind of going more to the positive side, I'm gonna go with the NL Central here. They are an interesting division to say the least. They are the only division right now whose leader in the division, the Milwaukee Brewers, has a minus run differential and a -12. Again, just kind of piggybacking off of the Giants here. We look at Giants; they're a game under 500 with a -15 run differential. On the flip side, your Milwaukee Brewers are -12 on the run differential, but are 3 games over 500 at 25 and 22. You look at Pittsburgh, Chicago Cubs, St. Louis Cardinals, who sit second, third, and fourth in the division. They all have a plus run differential. Pittsburgh at +19, Cubs +21, Cards +17, and then the lowly Cincinnati Reds at a -42. We're not going to spend a lot of time with them because they're expected to be bad, and they are. But it is so kind of interesting to see the run differential play out here with this division and see the rankings here. So Rafal, are you with me here on the NL Central, or we're going to mix it up here?
No, I'm totally with you on Central. And like you said, Chris, the Brewers are a big surprise. And I remember we were talking to Jack last week. We were asking him, how he feels they'll perform and if he thinks that their pitching staff can keep it together. Because like we were saying, hitting wise, they're kind of not. And like I said, even last year, they're kind of where they were at last year. 703 team OPS, 21st in the league, and Willie Damas is not hitting too well. He's more of a power, a big power guy, but he's not really hitting too many bombs. Yelich is struggling, and Browdy's been their best hitter all year so far. And obviously they brought up Turang, and although what's his face, Wingman's been struggling, and they lost. Who was the guy we were talking about last week?
Cal Mitchell.
Yeah, they lost Garrett Mitchell, so he's out for the year. I was obviously tough because he was hitting very well. But I just it's a little tough because honestly, with the way that the Cardinals are playing, and they're sort of climbing back, even though they really struggled coming out of the gate, but they're slowly picking up the pace. But I think in 30 games, the standings are definitely going to be uh, changed up, unless in terms of the demographics and how it's structured right now, because the Cardinals are 7-3 in the past 10 games, and they're only 5 games back. And obviously, the Brewers and Pirates are tied. Obviously, everyone expecting the Pirates to kind of taper off, even though they kind of to a historic start, which no one expected. Like Jack was saying, no one expected. He said they're a very unique team because they have a lot of young talent, and they're definitely going to be. I would say they're going to be successful in a couple of years because they have a lot of up and coming guys, and especially the farm system. They have one of the best farm systems in the game. So I think a couple of seasons, give them some time, they'll definitely be up there. But I just think for now, even though they're plus in the run differential, I think it's a matter of time before they kind of drop off. And number two, Chris, before I get to my favorite division, which I'm guessing you know what that is, uh, let's talk about the AL West. The AL West. Honestly, everything's going well except for Oakland. Oakland is holding them back. Negative 100. Is that the worst of all time? Negative 177, or did the Spiders beat that?
I don't know. I mean, they're
Even Spiders
definitely the worst right now this season, and
That's
by
ridiculous,
a very
bro.
large margin too.
It is so bad.
Yeah.
Like you can't play any worse baseball than this. 29 games under 500, 204 winning percentage. Like wow, that's horrible. That's horrible. And obviously, everyone knows what Brandon Brooker's doing. He's been ripping up the league, and really came out of nowhere because he struggled last year. He was in KC and San Diego, and he kind of struggled last year. But he's really picked up the pace. Your Mariners are somehow plus in the run differential. No, I'm kidding. Your Mariners are. I mean, listen. At least you're winning games. So they're picking the pace slowly. Texas has obviously been ridiculous this year. You got Adolis Garcia, you got Nate Lowe, you got Josh Young hitting bombs. You got Marcus Semien. Seager just got back. Houston slowly winning games. They've been the hottest team, 8-game winning streak. And yeah, number two, Chris.
Yeah,
You with
AL
me?
West for sure. Yeah, a line on this one as well. It's they the Angels at +8 is the only team that, besides one of the two teams in the division that I really don't like, is a team that sits above the Mariners. They're one that, we'll see what happens with them. They've got, on paper, looks like just enough offense and just enough pitching, and it kind of reflects in that run differential. So we'll see if they can maintain that all season long. They're definitely very top heavy with their stars and needing those guys to perform. So any sort of injuries that could happen, especially injuries that may take a player or two out for a month or something like that, it could really be detrimental to them. But, the Mariners, plus 27, you got to figure a lot of that is from them beating up on bad teams. Thank you, Oakland. And again, sorry, Oakland fans. It is interesting to really look at the Oakland A's. They've only scored 178, and they've given up 355, which is
wow.
The runs that they've given up is easily the most in the MLB right now, but it's like
That's
almost 100 about 100 runs more the next closest team that's out there. So it's really they are losing bad, and it's really they're just a really bad team. It's really astonishing just how bad they are. But AOS led by the kind of surprising Texas Rangers, who went out and shelled out a lot of money this offseason, and it's actually working out for them, unlike the New York Mets and the LA Angels. But we'll see. They've got some good players there, and they're playing well, and we'll see what can happen from them. And now we get to the number one team, and the real reason Rafal wanted to do this topic is because of the AL East. And not only is he's got his beloved New York Yankees in there, but they clearly are, when it comes to run differential, the cream of the crop there. And all 5 teams in this division, it's the only division that has all 5 teams with a plus run differential. And And as we can see, Rafal is showing the logo upside down as the Yankees are about to just nosedive here on out for the rest of the season. And that's what Rafal is doing. But no, the AL East, it's always labeled as a offensive division with a very hard division to win. And right now they are living up to that reputation. The Rays with a plus 126, they lead the division. They lead all of MLB with the run differential as well. Texas comes in at second with a plus 106 for those keeping track at home. But Baltimore plus 41 sitting in second. The Yankees in third with a plus 31. Boston plus 15. And then Toronto, a bit surprising that Toronto's in fifth place in the division, but they are with a plus 5. So, Rafal, let's hear what you have to say about your hometown division.
I got the AL East at 1. But listen, everything's clicking for them. The AL East, every team is clicking. Although the Blue Jays have sort of been slipping. They're 3-7 past 10 games, 5-game losing streak. Overall, really, just every team has been winning this division, and every offense is going. Obviously, Boston doesn't have the greatest pitching staff, but they're somehow holding it up. They're 4 games over, but no one expected the Red Sox to come out like this. No one expected them to win the way that they are, and they called up Jarren Duran, who's been a huge addition, and he's really made an impact since he got called up.
It looks like he's figured it out, which is great.
Yeah. And then Chris Sale sort of coming back. He's had 2 solid starts, solid outings past 2 times, and the Orioles just can't stop winning. And we're hoping to cool them down tonight, as I'm actually going tomorrow night, and the Yankees game. I'm hoping to go Sunday also. I mean, I'm off school. I end at 2 every day, so I'm nothing else to do. So I might as well go to the Bronx. So hoping to go tomorrow night. Nestor's pitching. That should be fun. And then Sundays, Yankees Padres. So that's gonna be fun. And other than that, like I said, the Rays, like you mentioned, Wander Franco's been slumping recently, but Yandy Diaz can't stop ranking. You got Randy, who homered last night while they were still cheering for him. It might have been Sunday, but I don't know, past couple of days. And then you got there's a lot of guys, like you said, mentioned Taylor Walls. Isaac Paredes is hitting bombs like he did last year. You got Christian Bethancourt making a nice contribution. Even though they got rid of Zanino, he stepped up a little bit. And pitching-wise, obviously you lost Springs, but McClanahan's been the ace. Although the Yankees did beat up on him last month, he's been Shane McClanahan. He's doing the stuff that he does. The bullpen has been a force. Mm-hmm. And do they have the best run differential in the game? I think they do. 126, the highest run differential in the game, and the worst goes to the Oakland A's. So that was today's episode for you guys. Run differential. I have to give the AL East, like Chris said, my division. I have to give it to my division because we're just good. And Chris, how about a good day today?
Yeah, a very good day. And one more note for the Tampa Rays: they're going to get some reinforcement with Tyler Glasnow expected to return. I believe it's this weekend.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Saturday, Sunday is when he's projected to start. So good news for the Rays. Now, if he can just stay healthy, I mean, that's what ultimately they want from him. But if he comes back and he's what he's been in the past, Rays could be really, really more of a challenge for your Yankees to try and overcome. I would say probably for Yankees fans, just give up on winning the division, focus on the wild card, and
it
I'll
keep that mindset for you. Come back to me at the end of the season, so see where we're at. But let me know when the Mariners can actually win games.
Okay. Well, hey, you know what? Actually, next week our 2 teams are going to face off with the Yanks and the Mariners. So it'll be fun to see what kind of bragging rights we have going forward after that series.
Where is that? But is that in New York?
I think it's Seattle.
I'm gonna fly in for that.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. We should go. We should go to that game. We gotta go to that series. That's gonna be some big rivalries there. We should do an episode in Seattle. Let's go to T-Mobile Park. Let's do an episode there.
I mean, All-Star Weekend's gonna be there.
Ooh.
So yeah,
that's expensive.
Yeah, actually, I forgot it will be in Seattle because the Mariners are embarking on a very long homestand. They're hosting the A's, the Pirates, and then the Yankees as well. So
nice. Okay, fine. So there you go. We're heading to Seattle. All right, guys. That's a wrap for today. Another day in the book. Another fun episode today. Just update for you guys. Hoping to bring back some old guests that we had on over the past couple months. We'll hopefully have one, hoping in the next couple of weeks, early to mid June. And hope you guys join this episode again. This will be on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you guys.